to this representation, make the letter or email available to the community. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Marion. Transparency is certainly... I'll just wait till you... Yeah. Transparency is certainly something that is important to me personally and also important to this council, and that's one of the reasons why we established the guiding principles at our meeting on the 3rd of September for council's work in regards to the Preston market, so it was clear what positions that we were advocating for. And these are obviously public and give you a good understanding of what we are committed to in terms of the Preston market. In regards to the VPA's recommendations report to the Minister, it is, I guess, important to understand that this is not a council report and we have no authority to release it. To release it, it is a decision for the Minister for Planning, so not council or not VPA's discretion. And we understand that the Minister will consider it in due course. I also note that there is an item on tonight's agenda regarding this specifically, about releasing it, and depending on the outcome of that, if that motion was to be supported, then any letter that is sent to the Minister is of course available to the public to see. Okay, so we're now up to submissions. I'll call on Anne Lay. Oh. Them all at the same time. We usually deal with ones. That's okay. All right, we'll go to questions. We usually deal with all of it at the same. Okay. Are there any further questions? We're still in. It's question and submission time, so don't be wary that you'd miss out on your questions. We'll go up to Robin. Do you want to come down?
I'm Robin Vogt. Good evening, councillors, and good evening, Madam Mayor. I did put my question in before 3 o'clock online.
Okay, I don't have a copy of it, I'm afraid. I'm sorry about that.
Well, you will in a minute. Okay. I'll shout. A group of Darebin residents concerned that council may withdraw from aged care service provision has been circulating a petition for several months in 2018. Signed petitions have been tabled at council meetings on a monthly basis ever since. My question is, how many signatures does council acknowledge receiving to date? In future, the number of petitions tabled at a meeting must be shown in the council meeting minutes so that residents are made aware of the importance of the aged care service issue in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. We will have to take that on notice in terms of the number of people who have signed that petition.
That means will be in the minutes, because if you get a letter, then...
We will. So now that you've asked the question, the question and response will be recorded in the minutes. Okay. And in response to the second question, we had a discussion around what is recorded when a petition is presented in council, and at the moment the local law doesn't require us to put in the number of petitioners within that petition, but that is something that we are looking at through the review of our local law.
I think it's very important.
Yes, thank you. Further questions? Do you want to come down to the lectern here?
Hi, thank you for listening to my question. My name is Josephine Gambaro and I'm speaking on behalf of my father, Mario Gambaro. The question is, we have become aware that there's a development proposal at 1019 High Street Reservoir. To date, there's never been a sign at the front of this property informing the public about the proposal so the public can have their say. What is council going to do to enforce developers to abide by procedure of planning permits instead of building townhouses in a single dwelling area?
So that's concerning to hear that there hasn't been advertising of that development. I'm sure that the CEO will make sure that that's followed up tomorrow. And so we'd like to get some further details so that we can follow that up, if that's okay. Okay, thanks. Further questions? Yep, Dulcie. We'll just get you a microphone.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Mayor and councillors, Aged Disability Care Services. In her letter of 5th of October to residents, Ms Cathy Henderson said, for this consultation period, the review panel will be issuing a discussion paper, which has arrived. However, it seems the discussion paper received has been written and issued by Darebin Council, not the panel, Rhonda Galbally and Peter Allen. The review of the needs of old people in Darebin, referred to in the discussion paper, was prepared by another outside researcher, Jeanette Pope, who had assistance from 3 council people. Many of us in the community are concerned council is more interested in providing social activities for us rather than the needed items such as the heavy shopping, housework, meals. It seems council's aim is to control this whole process to get the result you want. You are spending a massive amount of ratepayers' funds, $250,000, not necessarily for the needed benefit of ratepayers' residents. Question: are you prepared honestly to listen to and act for the needed benefit of the aged and disability people in Darebin?
In response to some of the concerns that you raised, I can assure you, apart from the Mayor's message that was at the front that I wrote, every other word within that document was written by the independent panel, Rhonda Galbally and Peter Allen. And this process is not about controlling anybody. It is about going out into the community and hearing what the older people in Darebin need, not now and also into the future. There are a number of questions that Rhonda and Peter have posed at the back of the discussion paper to hopefully stimulate some of that discussion and thoughts, and that I would encourage everybody in the community to get involved. There are a number of ways that you can make your views heard, whether that is on the website, popping into a session that are happening all over the place and have started as of last week, but also you can make a written submission at any time as well. So I'd encourage everybody who is interested in this topic to make sure that you get involved in that process.
There's nothing in there that says it's written by the panel. Nothing at all. It looks as though the whole thing is by council.
Well, I'm sorry that that's...
We must be sceptical. Yeah. There is nothing that says it's written by the panel.
I'm sorry that that's the way it appears. There is obviously, it has council logo and branding, and perhaps that's why you have that impression. But every word within the discussion paper itself was written by the independent panel. If we go now to Mr. Nugent. Do you want to come down to the lectern? Yeah.
Madam Mayor, my question is about on tonight's agenda, 8.3 on tonight's agenda. I know my club would welcome to submit a submission on children from single parents' homes at diverse homes for young children to play football, and of course our young females. If we are fair dinkum, we should give all clubs a go. And my second question, Madam
Sorry,
Mayor,
was there a question in that? Was that a statement?
If we're fair dinkum, we should be giving. I said my football club would love to submit. Just not one club. I mean, we are in the Darebin Council. We've been around for over 50 odd years, and I know we would love to submit. If you're going to open up for just one football club, women, we would like to have a submission for us to play more young children from our area to play football. Okay. My second question.
Well, I'll respond to the first one before you move on. obviously, we have relationships with all clubs right across Darebin, and if there are needs or a partnership that council can establish with them to assist them in anything that they are doing, then the door is always open to have those conversations.
So I can come down and make a meeting with you, Madam Mayor, and you will help us with this submission?
You're welcome to have a conversation. The club is welcome to make a submission and have a conversation with us about it. Ultimately, it's a decision for council about.
That's it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sanigan. If you are going to interrupt the meeting, I will have to ask you to leave. So, if we could please, if the gallery could please remain quiet while the meeting is happening, and if it's your turn, then it's your turn. But if it's not, then I'll ask you to remain quiet.
Will we move on?
Mr. Sanigan, that's your last warning. If you interject again, I will have to ask you to leave. Okay, so we'll go on to your... Mr. Sanigan, I'm going to have to ask you to leave now.
Madam Mayor.
No, I'm sorry, we'll just have to wait.
Not leaving. Sitting right there till the coppers come.
Okay, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
Put your thumbs on me.
I'm going to adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes now, and we'll take a break.
I'll still be here when you come back.
Ooh.